Good morning, everyone. It is 9 a.m. on this Friday, March 20th. We're streaming here on WGRZ Plus through 9:30 this morning. And developing this morning, shouldn't have any problems on the 33, but there were some big problems there overnight. The inbound 33 closed at Jefferson Avenue. The exit there because of this, what appears to be a two-car crash. Our photographer got to the scene just before midnight and saw the damage and saw those two cars badly damaged. No word yet on how, if anyone was injured, how many people may have been injured or what caused the crash. But as soon as we hear back from Buffalo Police, we will bring that info to you. Well, there are new developments in the fallout around DJ Granville. Some Erie County legislators say the sheriff's new assigned vehicle policy doesn't go far enough to address their concerns. And yesterday, the sheriff faced tough questions about the policy, which includes rules limiting personal use of county vehicles, including a ban on driving within 8 hours and consuming any alcohol. Legislators remain divided. Some say questions still linger, while others call the policy nitpicking.
I want to see some solutions regarding the personal use aspect of it. He said that he's open to making those corrections. We are supposed to get a new draft of this policy in 18 months, but I think right now, as I am working with the subcommittee to write a draft and a policy for the whole county, we need to have something changed before that.
And some legislators are hoping to work with the sheriff on changes by the end of the month. Delaware North is bringing more employees back to its downtown Buffalo headquarters. Beginning May 1st, about 425 workers will now be in the office 4 days a week. Currently, they're in the office 3 days a week. That's according to Delaware North's Director of Public Relations. The company's Vice President of Communications also told Buffalo Business First that the move is expected to boost collaboration and learning and productivity. It follows a similar decision by M&T Bank earlier this year, adding a fourth in-office day for many employees. And developing now, we're working to learn more about this scene on Chippewa around 8 o'clock last night. We don't know any details yet, but we did see Buffalo Police and other first responders parked in front of the Cowboy. Comes on a night when downtown was packed with basketball fans and visitors for the NCAA tournament. We have reached out to city officials for more information. Well, this morning, there is a new push for more answers about a Buffalo refugee's death. State Assembly member John Rivera says that the death of Nurul Amin Shah Alam has raised alarming questions for how Erie County and federal immigration authorities interact. Shah Alam was a visually impaired refugee who was previously arrested and charged with assaulting a Buffalo police officer last year. He was released from jail, and then Border Patrol agents dropped him off outside a closed Tim Hortons with no shoes on. That happened on February 19th. He was reported missing a few days later before he was found dead. And in a letter to the Erie County Legislature, Rivera urged members to convene a public hearing with the Erie County Sheriff's Office, saying, quote, "The facts as we understand them suggest a disturbing breakdown in judgment and accountability. Despite the fact that federal immigration detainers are requests and not mandates, the Sheriff's Office made the decision to involve federal authorities, and that decision ultimately resulted in Mr. Shah Alam being placed into a situation that proved dangerous and tragically fatal." End quote. He says a public hearing is necessary to help restore the public trust. Residents and community activists continue to raise concerns about their living conditions to the Buffalo Municipal Housing Authority Board. It was one of the topics at yesterday's monthly commissioners meeting. Some residents sounded off on current management and maintenance issues at properties managed by the BMHA. Its executive director acknowledges those concerns, saying that they're doing the best with what they can with the staffing and resources they have.
10,000 residents. 4,000 units. We're spread out all over the city, and as I said, we don't get a whole lot of outside funding. We get our money from HUD. We get specific grants targeted to specific things, like the capital improvement grant, which can go for X. We get rent money, and we're not a very big agency.
And yesterday, board members approved the agency's 2026 fiscal plan, a key document that lays out the budget and long-term redevelopment strategy for federal officials. It is 9:04 now on Daybreak, and Nexstar Media Group has completed its $6.2 billion acquisition of broadcaster Tegna. That is the company that owns Channel 2. The Federal Communications Commission and the Department of Justice signed off on the acquisition Thursday. In a news release, FCC Chairman Brendan Carr said that this deal empowers stations to better serve their communities in the future, saying, quote, "For too long, the FCC stood by while newspapers closed by the dozen in communities all across the country. Those trusted sources of local news and information shattered while the FCC dithered. If you care about local news, you should care about the future of local broadcast TV stations." The deal was first announced in August of 2025. As part of the agreement, Nexstar must sell 6 television stations in markets across the country in order to meet regulatory requirements. The NFTA is collecting donations to help TSA employees who have gone a month without a paycheck. On Tuesday from 8 until 4, the NFTA will be accepting gift card donations worth $20 or less, and the gift cards will be given out to TSA workers to help alleviate some of the financial burdens that they might be facing during the partial government shutdown. Donations will be accepted at the Buffalo Airport in the limo lot there. Well, with Easter just over 2 weeks away, preparations for Holy Week are now underway at Our Lady of Victory National Shrine and Basilica. The week begins March 29th with Palm Sunday marking the start of a time of reflection leading up to Easter. Church leaders say it is a time for the community to come together and celebrate their faith. And you can find a full Holy Week Mass schedule on OLV's website.
It's hard to believe how fast this Lent went by, but it's a week from Sunday, is Palm Sunday, so we'll have the church, the Basilica is magnificent right now, and it's going to be beautifully decorated for Palm Sunday with the palms, and we'll have the procession down the center aisle, the Blessing of Palms. We have Mass on Saturday night at 4:30, and then 8, 10, and 12, and 4:30 on Palm Sunday.
And you can find a full Holy Week Mass schedule on OLV's website. And speaking of Lent, it's Fish Fry Friday. Just head over to WGRZ.com and check out our Fish Fry map to get a head start on tonight's dinner plans or lunch or both. You can use it to find a new fire hall or church or restaurant to try out. Plus, you can still add your favorite fish fry on that map. Again, WGRZ.com/fish fry. Patrick, those going out for lunch and dinner might be getting wet, right?
It's going to be sometimes Friday lunch can be a wet lunch, right? We've heard of that.
I never have problems with a liquid lunch.
There we go. I think, though, for dinner time, the rain will be done. But the rain is on our doorstep. There it is just now beginning in Niagara Falls, and certainly some heavier rain getting ready to move in as this system gets a little bit closer. But you can see wet weather is on the way. It's going to be a wet day today, starting pretty soon, and then the rain kind of moving through during the late morning, early afternoon. 3:30, 4 o'clock, it should begin pushing through, leaving us with a dry dinner, dry evening commute as well. Maybe the first part of the afternoon commute a little damp, but dry weather certainly tonight. With temperatures tomorrow expected to be a little cooler than today, but it'll be a drier day, mostly cloudy with a couple of sun breaks potentially. Our next system arrives on Sunday, and it will be here. It looks like Saturday night it's still cloudy. You'll see it here. It'll get here on Sunday, probably mid-morning. Rainfall totals, 1/2 inch to maybe 3/4, lesser amounts across the southern tier where there will be about 1/4 inch of rain and mild temperatures. Here comes the next system. It arrives here. Notice the timing. Sunday, a couple showers possibly early, but Sunday is when the bulk of this rain comes through. And as it pushes south, it'll drag some colder air with it. Some snow showers likely on Monday to start next week as temperatures drop back into the 30s. For today, rain. It will be breezy as well. Tonight, the rain is over, mostly cloudy. And then for tomorrow, a dry day, a mix of clouds and sun in the afternoon. Long-range forecast. There's the wet weather on Sunday. Monday, some snow showers and a little rain and snow mix for the middle of next week.
Patrick, I'm going to put you on the spot with a question.
Yep.
Who won the Golden Snowball this year?
Syracuse did.
Did it?
They did. Rochester had a pretty bountiful year. They were well above average snow. Syracuse won it. I don't have their total on the top of my head, but I'll have it for you soon. And then Buffalo right now is close to average. A little above.
I was wondering, it feels like to me we'd be below average this year, but maybe that's just because of where I live, or no real significant major snowfall.
That, I think, is the story. It's that there's been lots of little and then kind of mid-range snows, 2-3 inches that totaled up over time. The snowfall for the season was below average just until recently.
Okay.
We just cracked the average for the date the other day. So we're a little above average. We're still below the seasonal average. We'll probably make up for that.
Yeah.
But there were no big, so for the south towns, which, of course gets more, the south towns and the north towns were about equal.
Wow.
Okay? More lake effect made it into the north towns, that's compared to normal, but there was no big ones. We had a big one in late November, early December, and then a bigger one in, if you recall, January started with that crazy windstorm. Then we had some heavy snow. Then after that, lots of little snows.
Wasn't it the exact opposite last winter season, where there were some big snowfalls and then nothing else?
That I would say, 2022, and those were known for bigger events with lots of nothing in between, or lots of quiet in between. So this was more of a persistent and consistent winter in terms of accumulating, time. We froze the lake. It was cold enough for it.
It was cold.
But we did not have, again, that big one this year.
Yeah, but I think this one will go down with, I think, everyone that I've spoken with in my circle is just like, this is the worst winter that we've had in a really long time because of the persistent cold. Yeah. And not a lot
December
from that.
Yeah, December, January, and February were all colder than average months.
Yeah.
However, we didn't have the big crippling. I got to think, how many snow days did we have this year? Not that many. Right?
But cold days.
Yeah, but we didn't lose.
But not snow days.
Kids did not stay home from school due to weather that often this season. Now, again, there's other reasons for it. They can do school at home, but
I think we almost ran out of snow days.
Really?
In the Amber schools because of the cold that they were used for.
Were they ever used for cold?
Yeah.
We had cold.
I would say that there were 4 days that the kids had off because of cold.
Because of cold?
Yeah.
Okay. I got to remember that. I know. I would consider this, it's hard for me to say harsh because there just wasn't, I think get this. I use the snowblower every now and then.
But it was
you didn't need it.
We could talk about this forever, but I still think it was just awful. And by January, I was like, I am so done with this winter.
Yeah. I get that argument, but if you just look at the numbers,
I know
there weren't any. Earlier in this decade, there have been seasons, and most of them had a high impact event.
Yeah.
And we did have weather impact alert days, but we did not have the shutdown, stay at home type weather system that was area wide. We really
don't jinx us. We're not going to get it.
And one last thing, we did not have any big lake effect. We had lots of lake effect, but no real big one.
Okay.
I'm not done. Colden, by the way, had raging snowfall totals. Okay, that's it. Bye.
We'll talk about Colden snowfall totals later on. Patrick, thanks. All right, we will also talk March Madness and the Variety Telethon coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back. It is 9:15, 37 degrees. We know which March Madness matchups will be happening here at KeyBank Center tomorrow. Look at your screen. Michigan versus St. Louis, Michigan State versus Louisville. Those are happening at 12:10 and 2:45 respectively. So we've got all of these fans in town today trying to figure out what to do before the tickets, before they go to the games tomorrow. If you do still want tickets, these will get, the prices that you see here will get you both games. So $163 for one ticket in the 300s. That's a lot of money, but hey, basketball fans are happy to pay it because Michigan and Michigan State are both very popular teams. So it's exciting to have them and have the nation looking at Buffalo right now, the national spotlight. And so Western New Yorkers are going downtown to see the games, and we've got a lot of visitors who are also here to see the games. And while only one, we've also had Western New Yorkers who were playing. There is the player who played for Michigan, and then there's the coach of USF. And unfortunately, the USF coach is not moving on because Louisville beat USF 83-79 Despite the loss, it was a really special moment for him. He's a Jamestown High School alum. He grew up in Olean. Brian Hodgson is his name, and his dad, who lives here in Western New York, has dementia, has never watched him coach a game, and so yesterday was the very first time. And Hodgson says even though the game didn't end the way he wanted, this is a really special experience that he'll never forget.
To be home in Buffalo, I just grabbed my phone as we walked down the hallway, and someone sent me a picture of my mom and dad with a big smile on their face, and that's something that I'll never be able to repay these young men for, because you know, I didn't know if or when that would happen, for my dad to be able to be here and see me in person, and how excited he was.
And it was really a successful season for Hodgson. In his first season at USF, he led the program to its first NCAA tournament appearance since 2012. So congratulations to him. As for that other local connection, Niagara Falls native, Newport grad, Roddy Gale Jr. had a really successful homecoming. He was part of the Michigan team that raced past Howard 101-80. Gale put up 14 points on 6 of 7 shots. With 23 minutes of playing. So good for him. Some exciting times here. And I'm pretty happy with my bracket so far. My bracket, I'm in a group of 41 people, and I'm 4th right now. So there's still hope.
You're 4th out of 41. That's pretty good.
Yes, all guesses.
Wasn't there a big buster yesterday? Wasn't there a big upset?
High Point won, and they were a 12 seed versus the 5 seed.
Okay.
And then the big thing was everyone was going crazy. The Duke was losing by 10 points against Siena at the half, and then they quickly regrouped at halftime and came back to win. Right. Okay, we will take a quick break. We'll come back, and you will meet this year's celebrity child, Sully Mattil. I'll introduce you to him when we come back. Stay with us. Welcome back. The Variety Telethon is tomorrow, and Sunday for that matter. And every year, Variety chooses one local child to represent all of those who have been positively impacted by the places and resources that Variety supports. And the celebrity child for this year's 64th annual Variety Kids Telethon is 10-year-old Sully Mattil. And I had the chance to get to know his family and learn about how his journey, which began with fear and uncertainty, continues today with joy and possibility.
I decided to try something new.
10-year-old Sully Mattil loves his Legos. Just look at his room. They're everywhere.
I made 2 different cars, entirely different from each other.
Block by block, it's easy to see Sully's creativity, imagination, and skill.
This part can come right out.
But his journey to get here began with fear.
I don't have a whole lot of memory of their birth.
Claire Sellers lost consciousness during her emergency C-section in 2015 when Sully and his twin sister Mary entered the world early and fragile at just 33 weeks.
It was really scary, and when Sully came out, he was really struggling to breathe.
Sully spent 5 weeks in the NICU at Oshai, now Golisano Children's Hospital, on a breathing machine while staff worked around the clock to keep him strong. It was a whirlwind for Mom Claire and Dad Mike, but they never felt alone.
So I still had a 2-year-old at home while this is all going on. The doctors and nurses were absolutely amazing.
When Sully was healthy enough to go home to his twin and older sister, things seemed mostly normal. But several months later, Claire noticed he wasn't meeting his developmental milestones.
And then to add to the complications, he contracted whooping cough shortly before his first birthday. And that kind of sent him on a downward spiral.
So what ultimately was he diagnosed with?
Steroid-induced adrenal insufficiency from inhaled steroids. It's incredibly rare, but as a result of that, his immune system had turned off. He was barely walking, he was barely eating, he had needed support to sit up. So in February 2021, very frustrated, a doctor suggested, would you be willing to try something? It won't hurt him, but would you be willing to just have him take hydrocortisone 3 times a day? We were willing to try anything, obviously, and we tried it, and within 2 weeks, he was back to being Sully.
But he still needed help, and that's where the Robert Warner Center for Developmental Pediatrics and Rehabilitation comes in. It's not just a medical facility, it's a place where specialists worked together to rebuild Sully's strength and his future.
Emotionally for you as his mom, to see him at his lowest of lows, where you didn't know if your baby was going to survive, your little boy, to now seeing him doing everything that other kids his age should be doing. What does that mean to you to be able to have your son back?
It's pretty amazing. He does have autism and ADHD, which, you know, probably explain why we saw some of those little delays in the beginning. But he's in the gifted and talented program in a Buffalo public school. He plays the violin, he plays lacrosse, he's on the school basketball team. He's learning to ski. So with all the help and support, which he still needs and gets. But he went from like this gallon-sized bag of meds to now he takes medicine for asthma.
Give everybody try.
Sitting around the table playing a game of Uno, this is just Sully. But to all of us, he's the poster child of the 64th annual Variety Kids Telethon.
What did it mean to you when Variety reached out and asked if Sully would be this year's celebrity child?
Well, I was like, really, Sully?
Yeah!
At first, it took me a minute to process. I guess I always feel lucky with Sully that we had such good doctors and staff. And I know there's so many families out there that don't.
For those who are watching the telethon, what would you say to those at home who are thinking of maybe donating?
Do it. There are so many kids in this community who have benefited from, whether it starts at the NICU level or the Robert Warner Center, and are flourishing in our community. But they can't get there if we don't have a great children's hospital. Variety doesn't just give to Children's Hospital, that's their primary goal, but they also give to all the programs that help kids like Sully.
From uncertainty to possibility, Sully's story is proof of what care, community, and compassion can do.
These are the kids and these are the adults.
They can build healthier, happier children who could, yes, then build with their Legos.
Go Variety!
So Sully will be there tomorrow and Sunday along with twin sister Mary, older sister Lizzie, and mom Claire and dad also. They'll all be there. And it's kids like Sully. That's why you give to Variety. Again, it's going to Golisano Children's Hospital, the Robert Warner Rehabilitation Center, and so many other local charities, Make-A-Wish and Camp Good Days. And the list goes on of what Variety, where the money that Variety gets goes. And so, yes, telethons are rare. This is the longest running telethon broadcasted locally in the history of television. And we've got it here in Western New York. It works. They raise so much money year after year. And that's all because of you and your generous donations. And Channel 2 is once again proud to partner with Variety to have the telethon on the air tomorrow, again from 6 to 11. So Patrick and Pete and I will be there from 6 to 8:30. And then we've got Mary Ellis and Scott and Claudine and Dan Russell from 8:30 to 11. And hey, you can call in to the number and you can ask to talk to us. If you make a donation, we'll chat with you on the phone a little bit. We'll read your donations on the air. It's controlled chaos during the telethon, but we all have a lot of fun and we are so proud to be part of this special day, right, Patrick?
Absolutely, yeah, it's gonna be fun. Been doing it a long time. Remember that one year we did it with the Goo Goo Dolls? They were there?
Yes, that was COVID year. It was
right before COVID year. It was the February before.
No, it was three weeks before. And then everything shut down. It was at the casino.
Yeah, I remember that.
And
I thought we weren't wearing masks yet, though.
No, because it was right before.
It was before. Okay.
Because it was mid-February.
That's what I just said.
February 19th. But I said the year before.
No, I said mid-February, and you said no.
Right.
Yeah,
no, it was
right
mid-February, but it wasn't the year before. It was like 3 weeks before.
Right.
Because then everything shut down.
Exactly. No,
yes.
it was, and I remember interviewing Marty Bernius from the Erie County Fair.
Okay.
And he
Marty
was Bernius, thank you. And he was. We were talking about all the concerts that were coming up for that.
Oh, for the fair.
The fair that year, and of course
everything shut down.
There weren't any concerts.
Yeah, that was the last big telethon at the casino.
Right.
Everyone got dressed up.
Right.
After that, we've kind of toned it down as far as how big it is, but it also still raises that incredible amount of money.
Yeah, that's what's great.
Yeah,
and so people still call.
You can call in or not. You can also, if you don't call in, You can do Venmo, you can do QR codes, you can go online and donate, you can text a donation, but be sure to tune in. You'll see Sully, you'll see great performers and local community groups and so many businesses and organizations coming together to present their checks to the Variety Telethon. That is this weekend. It's on Channel 2 on Saturday. It's on WBBZ Channel 5 on Friday. We've got a lot of fun things happening in Western New York this weekend, so we hope you enjoy it. Patrick, finally, 30 seconds left.
Rain is coming. Saturday looks fine. Rain again Sunday. And so you got half and half weekend. Okay. Enjoy your Saturday.
And go Sabres. They're still out west. They play tomorrow at 4 p.m.
Wagon.
And also.
Right.
So it's a good time to be a Buffalo sports fan. Bye, everybody.
I'm never gonna stop the rain by complaining because I'm free.